Ready? Welcome to Anam podcast.
Hello,
Thank you for
everybody.
joining us again. Welcome, Amy. And we're beautiful Transcendencia, I think is how you say it. Plant has joined us today.
She's
Thank
just
you.
blooming. Remember last time?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
She's growing really well.
Yeah.
Very happy to see them. All right, should we get started?
Absolutely.
Lead us in a meditation just to clear ourselves with our eyes closed. Bringing our full awareness into the now. Feeling the silence. Enjoying the silence. Embracing the silence. Allowing source to flow through. And to be guided through this conversation by source. Thank you. Blue is the color for the day.
Blue dabba dee da.
So here we are.
How you feeling?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Yeah, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I
Yeah.
am a whirlpool of emotions, but I found I still do, clearly, what I'm about to say, but I overeat when I'm like very uncomfortable, and I mean overeat to the point where I get sick.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yesterday and was it the day before? What day was it? Anyway, it was mainly yesterday. Anyway, I was eating, and I just stopped myself, and I was like, I love that I'm doing this, and I'm not guilty about it. Because I used to do it, and like there would be a point where I'm shoving my fingers down my throat because I felt so bad that I wasn't allowed, I was not listening to my body whatsoever. And then I used to feel so guilty, and then self-fucking hate and everything was coming in. And then yesterday I was like, I'm not even guilty that I'm doing this. Even though I was overeating still, but there was no guilt behind it. So it was a really, Jesus, there's a bit of growth there.
Yeah.
Take away the overeating, but we weren't guilty about it. So that was a nice thing yesterday.
To be aware of, yeah. That's the thing, is catching yourself in your pattern and deciding to do it differently. Because it's just like every time I come to you on these days, I get the opportunity to find myself kind of doing the same thing until I catch it, and then it just seems like I'm still doing it though. But am I going to get to the bus on time? I'm in control of this. This is a reflection of me. And that's what I keep reminding myself. I'm in control of this. It's a reflection of me. I don't have to worry about it. I will be there on time. Of course, I always am. But it's like every time I'm coming, I get this opportunity to do this again. I'm in control. And maybe it's just to remind me of this day that I'm in control. And this is a reflection of me. If I feel like I have to hurry up, that's the energy I'm putting out. That's what I'll have to experience.
And often when we tell ourselves that we need to hurry up or be there, the stress, it's such an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Why would you do that?
And that's the mechanism that tells me, ooh, I have something that's off here. Let me figure that out. So I always go by how I feel.
Yeah.
If it feels shitty, then it's like, okay, stop. What do I need to shift?
Yeah. Because I don't know where I was going the other day, but I was stressing myself. I had loads of time, but like for me to be on time, I have to be quarter or 15 minutes early. Do you know what I mean? Quarter too early, whatever that was about. And I wasn't that early, and then I was like, oh God, I'm late. No, you're not. Do you know what I mean? I'm predicting that these people are going to be stressed out that I'm like not there, the appointment booked or whatever. they didn't even care. They were just like, yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
So why was I stressing myself out?
That's a pattern.
Yeah.
It's like showing you this is your tendencies. And it's not to say, oh shit, I don't like that about myself. It's like, oh, okay, I can shift that if I don't feel like I want to do that anymore. You might feel like you do. But that's a topic I wanted to talk about today, was all the talk right now is about shifting into the fifth dimension. And what does that mean? What does that look like? What does that mean? So we're not actually physically going to see any difference out here. Not necessarily, at least right now. We're not going to see a difference in the external. But what the fifth dimension is more of a mindset. So you've shifted your mind to see more fifth dimensionally. And how I've learned that is the fifth dimension is easy. It's ease and flow. So if your life is still, and most of us are still transitioning, so it's very normal to not have complete ease in your day. So don't feel bad if you're still feeling, it's okay, we're in transition. But the ease is the fifth dimension. It's the way you look at things. So you see there's a saying I wrote down that I can't think of it. It's interesting when I sit here with you, how there's things I want to say and I'll get the general, but the specific, I'll have to look.
I just blame me then.
No, it has nothing to do with you. It's funny, I thought I had turned that so it wouldn't do that, but I guess I did.
Alright. Really fell off the chair, dude.
It's okay. And so the screen blacks out every now and again. So just so you know what we're doing. And it doesn't do that on the recording. So you can't see that it does. However, I still like to look at you, so I don't want it to go black.
Don't blame you.
So anyway, back to the fifth dimensional way of thinking. Fifth dimension is an expansive way of thinking. It's more when you have a thought or you are presented with an idea that makes you feel like you just went, wow, that's fifth dimensional for you. So it's learning how the world is actually here to assist you in your realization of who you are, not as a 3D mind would think, to make us stronger or to teach us a lesson. Or, I mean, it is a lesson essentially, but it's not just here teaching you lessons. It's here to show you this is what you have internally going on. And all your experiences are that.
I shared a quote today. Did you see it?
I don't think so, no.
Great, because I can't remember it. It was, I'm not going to even try and make it up, but it was like, life is here to be experienced. You don't need to, thanks.
No, I'm gonna say my quote I got.
I don't know where I put it.
The way you see the world creates the world you see.
The way, say again?
The way you see the world creates the world you see. And so if this world looks shitty to you, change the way you see it. And then this will change. Because that is 100,000% true. That's been my reality. Is that in order for me to be happy, I had to change the way I was looking at what was happening.
And that's why everything is so magic.
Yeah.
Sorry, but just look at that raven.
I know. You have a really nice big raven that likes to fly around here. But that's fifth dimensional thinking. So somebody had recently told you that you think too deep.
Yes.
But that's a dimensional shift in the way you think. So 3D is very surface. You're reacting to what's happening. You're responding. Everything happens to me. I'm a victim. There's no rhyme or reason to this. This is just shit, basically. That's 3D. Fourth dimension, it's interesting because we had done an episode and I had spoken about fourth dimension and I can't remember what I said about it.
Just goes to show we're in the present.
Yeah, exactly. fourth dimension is a transition. It's a transition as I see it now, and I'm an evolving soul, so I'm an evolving human, understanding my soul better. The fourth dimension is the in between the third and the fifth, and yeah, what was I just saying about it? I don't know. It's a
transition.
It's a transition. It's the transition between. It's the ability to flip between the two, the third and the fifth, and the third and the fifth. So most of us are probably sitting in fourth.
Yeah. Well, I will scoop, like, for example, I think that I'm out of victim mode and then something happens to me and I'm like, oh, poor me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like even I'll see traits that I've picked from my mum and I'm like, whoa, they're my mom, like that's not me. Do you know what I mean? So it's awareness as well. It's awareness of that, and then it's like, right, I don't want to choose that. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to choose something different.
Yeah.
And following that, because it'd be so boring if we start picking up all of our traits from everybody else.
Well, that's what we do. Yeah. That's what we've been programmed to do.
Yeah.
So that's 3D. You're just following what other people told you to do, or you're just following in what your parents taught you to do. So that's 3D. And then 5D is knowing that you have connection to source yourself. You have connection to God yourself, and that you essentially are the incarnate of source energy. So you carry that energy within you, and you're able to see the world through those eyes.
And create. Because when I'm in that space and I ask for something, it gets presented like that.
Yeah.
Like,
that's because you believed it too.
Yeah.
So like, the doubt stops the flow of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there was no, and I think it was because I let it go as well. Like there was like, okay, I want this. I'm not going to keep wondering how I'm going to get there, or because it's none of my business how I was going to get here.
No, I even heard just yesterday by a speaker who said that when you have a desire, when you put your energy into that desire, like you're thinking about it, you're feeling it, you know, like how we've been taught, that's like you're pulling back on the arrow and the tension is there, and your focus is on the target, and the focus on the target is you putting all of the energy in. I'm imagining what it would be like when I have it, and then and then in order for the arrow to shoot, you need to let it go. And that's exactly what we need to do with the idea. Let it go. Because once you let it go, what you're doing is you're trusting that there is a more powerful energy that's actually going to have create it for you, that's actually going to bring it to you. And it's let it go, trust in it, have faith. It's yours because you already, if it wasn't yours, you wouldn't have thought about it.
Absolutely. And like, I don't know about anyone but except for myself and the others that are close to me. Like I found yesterday, for example, I got a phone call of somebody who'd done something. I was completely out of his control, but he was like self-doubt, self-criticism, and I've been like that as well the couple of days, in terms of like, am I making the right choice? Or like just constantly like in a state of I should be, even though I don't want to do it. Do you know what I mean?
There's no should.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so like all of this is coming up for to see your patterns, and like all these experiences are coming for a chance to break them down, or I choose something different. Yep. You know what I mean? And when I got that phone call yesterday, I was like, oh, this is coming through somebody else, because I'm not listening through what for me, you know what I mean? And because I'm listening to the phone going, it's none of your business, like what, do you know what I mean? But that's what I've been doing, but it needed to be presented through somebody else for me to actually realise it, you know.
To see it.
So
and that's what happens. That is what happens. Your relationships are your reflections of shit that you need to work on. And that's why you're attracted to that relationship. Yeah. Because there's things you need to work on.
Yeah. And I haven't seen him in so long. I said, what's the story like? Have you fell off the face of the earth? And he was just like, oh no, sorry, I'm actually moving. And I was like, what? But yeah.
Yeah, life is magical. I had the most beautiful, look at the sun, like the blue in the sky and the clouds, just so beautiful. I had the most amazing day yesterday, spent foraging in the park and took some amazing photos. And I don't know, I'm in such love with life at the moment. So much love for this existence and this opportunity to understand myself more.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like I don't know if this is a belief, well actually everything's a belief system, so, but it depends what phase of my cycle I'm on. Sometimes I actually just want to crawl up into a ball and not. On other days I'm like, woo, life, yay. But it's awareness of your cycle, I think, is so important, because you know when it's coming, or you know when you're in that phase and you just don't believe anything your head is telling you because you're in that phase. But then it's also like pulling back in terms of, it's not blaming, but it's, I can choose different.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's again showing you your cycle could actually be so much more meaningful, allowing yourself to feel the transition in your body and embracing the more positive side of it instead of looking at it in the negative, you know? And I think that's another tendency of the human, is to not be happy where we're at, like wanting to have, or wanting things to change because then I'll be happy, or wanting things to change because, and that's a 5D thing, to be okay with where you're at, be okay with who you are, embrace it and love it, and then you will learn more about who you are and what this is all about for you. You can't, when you're judging, it's harder. You're not seeing it for what it is. The episode that was just out this week, which is, I think this will be this, anyway, the last episode, not last, but an episode in the past, because I don't know when this is coming out. Sometimes because I edit these videos, and I wish I had chosen my words better, because in an episode I had said that Source wants us to go into a dark space. Source doesn't want us to go into a dark space. So I was talking about the Phoenix rising and the transitioning and how it's the journey of discovery, and that my words were that Source wants us to come from a dark space, but Source doesn't want us to come from a dark space. We can always transition even from a high space. There's still more. So anyway, coming off the back of don't judge yourself, sometimes the words, because I am an evolving being as well, aren't exactly what I mean. And I trust that hopefully the feeling is behind it, so that people understand, not just by the word, but by how it feels.
I think though, like, people are going to perceive it different.
Yes.
Regardless of what you say, and being in this space of trusting, it's what needed to be said at that time, So
that is true.
Yeah. But like, even, do you ever leave conversations and you're like, God, not that you shouldn't have said that, but
why did I say that?
Why did I say that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, you said it because it needed to be said. Like,
because I've said this to you before, when you're around somebody, you pick up on their energy, and so they can pull out of you things that you normally wouldn't say, because it's what they expect, or it's what they need to hear, or it's what. So you should never look back what I just did and say, I wish I wouldn't have used that word, because why I used that word, it was probably intentional for somebody to hear it that way. So, yeah, trust and have faith in what was said is said perfectly.
Yeah.
And if it triggers somebody, apologies, wasn't intended that way, but that's for you to look at.
Yeah, like it's true about scooping into people's energy, like, cause like that time when I'll never forget it. I was in my nanny's and I was like, on the news, yeah, somebody's sick.
Yeah, I remember this conversation.
I will never forget it, because why did I do that?
Because that's how they talk to each other.
Yeah, but
you just went right along with
prime
it.
Example of
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, grand, so and so sick. Like, obviously.
Because when you get a certain age, typically people, this can change and hopefully it does. Typically people will talk about all their ailments. Now, it is not my belief that there's a degradation of the human body when you hit certain number of digits. In fact, actually coming from, like, I had an awareness over the last week about how, I already talked to you about this, but about the aging process. So I've been listening to, and I used to read a lot of books. Now it's more audible books because it's just I can do things while I'm listening. And The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East is a book that I keep going back to. Actually, I think there's like 6 volumes or something. There's multiple volumes. Anyway, in that they talk about age and how you don't have to age. Nobody says you have to age. In fact, the goal of life should be, because right now, let's go back. Because right now it seems that we are born, we say there's 2 things that are sure in life. You're born and you die. But actually you don't have to die. The death process is a belief that you have to die. What can happen to the human body is it disintegrates. That's the transition into spirit. And the life of a human is not said. You don't have to, there's no day. There's no this many years and you're going to die. The life of a human can go on until you realize. In fact, it was set up that we were supposed to be born and then live to self-realization. Live that whole, could take 1,000 years, could take 2,000 years, but that's the way it was supposed to be, or that's the way it was originally set up, is that we would be born and then we would live until self-realization, and then we would disintegrate back into source, or whatever you want that to look like. You don't have to disintegrate. Sometimes you take your body with you. So anyway, there's lots of different ways that you can transition. But what's happened is we believed in the aging process, and we believed that the body disintegrates or degenerates over years. You lose your hearing, you lose your eyesight, you lose your memory, you lose the... Not true. You don't have to believe that. Remember that you're here experiencing your beliefs and your definitions about life, and you can change that. So somebody started believing in the decaying process, and then that just grew. And now you're only living to 100 years, if you're lucky, they say. That is so small. And that's why we come back. Well, that's why we reincarnate, is to keep coming back, but actually you don't need to reincarnate. You can just do it all in one lifetime. So that realization came to me based on a lot of books that I had been reading. It kind of all just amalgamated into, that's what I've been hearing and not really understanding, and now I'm totally getting it. That we don't have to die. That youth could be the goal. So we have this, you're born and then you die, but you could be born and then you could be in youth. You could be in your prime for the rest of your life.
What is about, they say when people who cross over come back as, or not come back, but are still around, like a Robin or however you see
that
fit
come
to see.
back in spirit.
Yeah.
So there's a few beliefs that I know about this, around this idea. We are all source beings. We're all source. Everything that you see is source, right? And there is only source. So I believe the personality of me, Edie, and the personality of Amy is a mask that we put on in this life. But it's an important mask. It's there because this is how Source is experiencing this perspective. And I believe that this perspective continues after death. But that it knows more that it's part of a bigger whole. That it's not just, it's because as a 3D human, you think you're it. You can have that belief that there isn't anything else. But after you cross your transition, you know that you're actually part of a bigger whole and that you can communicate, you can participate in this reality too, because you now have had this experience. So it gives you, you're kind of in between, completely immersing with the whole that you are and aware of this reality as well. That's my understanding from what I've read, but that's just mine.
Yeah. So say, like, for example, we could look at this glass of water, right?
Yeah.
And this reminds us of colour.
Mm-hmm.
But then that water goes and comes back in another glass.
Mm-hmm.
And we no longer feel it's Connor.
So Connor will never come back to life in a body. He will always be Connor. That personality will always be.
Okay.
So even if his essence comes back and takes another life, that Connor will still always be. There's no time. This is I think where we're getting all sometimes tangled up. There's no time. It's all now. And our past lives and future lives are all now. There's only now.
So that's like soul connections. So
yes.
Like
yeah.
How.
Yeah.
I know, like, how we know each other in this life is, for example, Paddy bringing you.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, but that's just in the 3D life.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've been connected. It's all now. You and I are not any different except for you have the mask of Amy and I have the mask of Edie. We're actually the same. We're actually the same consciousness expressing and experiencing life through these perspectives. When I had to go through like an ego death to really grasp that idea, because what I was feeling like I had to die on was, you mean to say that I'm not going to care about my kids when I transition? That I'm not going to care about who's left here? Essentially, you don't care because you're more whole, you're more fully who you are once you transition. And you don't feel the 3D heavy or disconnect because you know we're all connected. You know, we have versions of ourselves on the other side, bigger versions of ourselves, more of ourselves on the other side. So when you transition, you're more with your family. You're more with them than you are here.
And I suppose when you croak as well, you're in that state of trust, you know, so the people who are still in the 3D form, you're trusting that they're going to be okay.
Yes. Well, you know they're going to be okay because nobody transitions without their permission. So no matter what it looks like to us here in 3D world, when people transition, they're always given the choice. Nobody transitions without the choice. They may not have been aware of the choice, but they have always been a choice at some level of their existence. They have been given choice. So they may be so enmeshed in the 3D world that they don't think that there's anything else. So in that instance, their higher self is probably given the permission to say, yes, it's time for that to go. And it looks like a sudden accident down here.
And that's when the human brain gives up. Says, time for change.
Yeah. So the human brain is the receiver. So once the human brain is not receiving, it's just not receiving anymore. That's gone. And the difference between a living body and a dead body is huge. Huge. When I saw Connor in the mortuary, it wasn't Connor. It didn't even look like Connor. It wasn't Connor. It was I had no connection to it whatsoever. He wasn't there anymore. He wasn't in that form. And life, the spark of life, the life that animates these bodies is everything. When the life that animates this body is gone, you won't recognize the body. This body won't feel like somebody that you knew. Because it's the animated energy that is who I am, not this body.
Yeah. Like I reflect back when Siobhan died, but I was so attached to the physical form that, like, she was lying there dead in bed, but like I was lying with her, singing to her.
Yeah,
like,
but she's still. So when sorry, I'm interrupting you, because when the soul or the spirit first comes out of the body, you don't feel like they've gone. And that's what happened with Connor. He had transitioned at home, but he was in the hospital and he still felt like Connor. So I feel like they stay around for a while.
Yeah.
So that would make sense that you would feel like singing, because she was still there.
Yeah.
It was after he was in the mortuary, after he had transitioned, it'd been a week or so. Then the shell wasn't Connor. Did you feel a difference at all once she was transitioned for a while?
Well, she was gone to wherever they go, to Cream caretakers, and she came back, and I think it was a course of 3 days or something. But like I never got to see her in the coffin.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get that experience?
No, I didn't. I never seen her after she left her bedroom, because it was my cousin's Deb, so I was down with the Debs. But and there wasn't an open coffin. It was a
closed coffin. Yeah, if you were able to see her, you would.
That's probably the reason why. Because the last memory I had, she was still.
She was still around. Yeah. Because Connor was not around when I saw him later at all. He was, I never experienced that before. That was my first time of having somebody that I really deeply loved, that I learned a lot from, and I was aware of it at the time, that transitioned, and then seeing them a week later, however long it was, and feeling the difference is huge. And so it just shows you that it's the energy, it's the energy that animates the body that is the person, not the body.
Yeah. But I just think it's mad, like, it's not mad, but when people have crossed over and their body's just completely cold. It's
well, that's also the energy that animated the body. Is gone. It is
crazy.
It is something to learn to not feel sad about. I think that's another learning area that we can grow more in.
Yeah, that triggered me now. Like my eyes are watering. Like, it didn't trigger me in a bad way, but it's just like I still get emotional when I think about it. But not like in a negative space. It's just like, I think it's because I was so in bits when it happened that when I reflect back to it, that's the emotions that get
You're
brought
connecting
up.
to it, yeah. And then if it's a feeling you don't like, say you were connecting to a feeling of emotion that you're not happy with, you can change how you see it. And you do that by your words, what you're saying to yourself. So being aware of what you're saying to yourself that's making it feel like not good. And then start changing the wording of nothing ever happens. It's, you know, this is part of being a human, and they haven't gone anywhere. They're still with, you know, just change the way you talk to yourself. That's huge when it comes to understanding the world differently.
Yeah, and another thing is anger is a big, like if I'm feeling frustrated, it's learning new ways to express that frustration.
Yeah.
Like, because it's such a frowned upon emotion that like it's bad to be angry or frustrated, and it's not, it's just another thing.
But it's showing you that you're believing something that's disconnecting you, though. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways of expressing an emotion, but if it's that emotion, it's still not going to feel good. So does that emotion feel good? Frustration in any terminology doesn't feel good. So how can I see this differently so that I feel better about what I feel frustrated about right now? So it's being aware of how you feel about that's pissing me off, or that's frustrating me, or that's whatever. Why? Because I believe this, and that's the underlying reason why I feel frustrated. And then change it, because it's not there to frustrate you. It's not there to piss you off. It's not there to make you angry. It's there to show you you have a belief. So shift if you choose.
Yeah.
And again, it's that 5-dimensional higher. As soon as you say higher, people think, oh, that's better. There's no good and there's no bad. There never was. It's your definition that makes it so. So just shifting how you see so you feel better is the 5th dimension, is where we're all transitioning to.
Where the magic's at.
Yeah, where the fun is, where the joy is, where the understanding yourself better is. Yeah.
And also, like, being in that space of joy and doing things that brings you happiness is like, everything falls into place when you're in that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But then it's like frowned upon, because have you earned enough to do that?
So what?
Yeah.
Let it be frowned upon.
Yeah.
Let it be judged.
Yeah.
So what? Because the only thing that's important is that you feel good. Because when you feel good, you're in alignment with who you truly are. And who you truly are is a magical being here to create magic in this world. Your unique self. That's why you're here. That perspective.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good time to end this episode.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.